addressable market for private credit globally is $1.5 trillion. So how much of that has actually been tokenized? Up to date, it's just 12 billion. That's it. Across all of these providers that are currently providing this on mostly EVM-based networks, there's a little bit on Solana. It's a small percentage. It's like 0.8% of all of the hard money lending and private credit that's been tokenized. So very, very little. And it's only in this application, right? Hard money lending against real estate or private equity or stocks or any of the other collateral that you could be putting up as collateral for this type of loan or line of credit. The total global trading volume for private credit is $1 to $2 billion. So if that were to move on chain, this is what actually is going to move the price of tokens. Okay. The trading of these debt obligations or the repayment of these loans, when value is moving over the networks, there's volume. And the volume is what's going to cause the need or demand for a token to be able to settle that, right? And you may have to lock this up in certain protocols. So the supply of these tokens might also be affected and therefore drive price appreciation, right? So, and again, we'll talk about what that's going to look like for some of these networks at the end of this video. So based on what I've seen to date and where the adoption is for private credit, it's going to be EVM-based networks that end up winning out on this. So that could be Ethereum, it could be Polygon or Matic, it could be maybe Solana, right? I mentioned there's a small piece for that as well. It could be the XRPL EVM sidechain, anything that is EVM compatible. So what is EVM? EVM is the Ethereum virtual machine. It's the component of the Ethereum network that allows for the smart contract capability for the tokenization of things. The Ethereum network itself is slow and costly, and that's why there's a lot of layer twos that have been built on top of that try to solve those problems. But being coded in Python Solidity, there's the majority of developers at this point that work in smart contracts know those languages, and therefore that's where most of the adoption has been. So you're going to see that can proliferate, in my opinion, for private credit. Most of this is going to end up on EVM-based networks in the future, and this could be layer twos on top of Ethereum, or it could be Axelar that allows for interoperability between EVM-based networks and other protocols. It could be on the side chain for the XRPL. There's a lot of where it might end up, kind of up in the air, but it's going to be EVM-based. So that's private credit. Next, we most prevalently thing tokenized besides private credit, and that's going to be U.S. Treasuries. You have a huge mover here, which is Ondo. Securitize and BlackRock and a lot of other parties are looking at this. You got Franklin Templeton, which is also somebody that's tokenized treasuries, but they've done it on a hyperledger instead of the EVM or Ethereum-based networks. So currently, total market cap for U.S. treasuries is going to be $25 trillion. It's a lot of debt that we have issued. Total trading volume per day on that tier one asset is $600 billion. That's a lot, right? So you can imagine whichever network garners the majority of that trading volume is going to have pretty significant price appreciation. We've got Ondo and then EVM-based networks, and you also have Hyperledger, which is XLM. So those are kind of the leaders right now. Ondo is EVM-based, right? But it does have a token associated with it, and it does lock up, and it does move that value. So that's the current leader. Where does that end up going for the price of that token? Probably pretty significant. So the total current tokenized value for treasuries, you guessed it, is tiny in comparison to the 600 billion that exists. It's 0.016%. Only 4.05 billion U.S. treasuries, or the value of U.S. treasuries, have been tokenized up to this point. Very, very small amount, but it is liquid, right? And so